Hi friends, in Planet Earth Dating, it's Tuesday, December 1st, 2015. Black Wolf and Ra here, me Black Wolf at the microphone, Betty Jean and Asha there. Betty Jean is at the microphone, other teammates in other aspects of the physical dimension, all of us in the physical dimension except potentially one, all of us in the subatomic levels of the physical from the perspective of the spirit world viewers. We're using the foundational intention, which is to do what is ours to do right now in all dimensions to manifest the divine plan. The data continuing to show, nothing ever arguing with the assessment of wiser minds above, that people are too stuck, sentient presences of all levels are too stuck, just doing what they want to do. And the path of ease and grace is to provide a collective restart, unstick everybody all together. And wiser minds above, knowing that nothing happens without a deadline, they have set January 17th, 2017 as the deadline for that. And knowing that one big deadline needs smaller deadlines leading up to it, we have the next deadline as the winter solstice, which is roughly midnight on December 21st in Eastern Standard Time, Planet Earth Dating. Our intention is to meet the assignments of all those deadlines. With that, the videoed portion of today's effort begins. Black Wolf here. My attention is drawn to the condition of Ra, Asha, Garth, and many others in our community who are still in strong recovery mode.
That's true.
Maybe strong isn't the right word. If Ra were able to speak, he would find a better word, I'm sure.
That's true.
But he can't do those things right now,
No.
or he won't ever get better.
That's true.
And I'm just saying it out loud and on the record that Ra, you keep jumping up to take care of things, and you're never going to get well if you do that. So why don't you put a seat belt on that wheelchair or something?
That's true.
Because we want you back strong. We actually want you back strong and healthy. Do what Asha's doing. She's sleeping. That's what you should be doing.
That's true.
He says it would be insane for him to sleep, that we would pull this vehicle into the ditch within 2 seconds, and that could be true.
That could be true.
Okay. But stop jumping up. Just tell me what you want me to do.
That's true.
Let me do it. Tell me what you want me to do. And he says, all right, sport. All right, sport. See if you can get through to Paul and Glenn that what they're doing with good hearts and good intent is not what the instructions are. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay. Guys, Paul, Glenn, can we have strong eye contact, please? Strong eye contact.
I got Paul.
Yes, I have Glenn. He's looking at me, and he has a little bit of a "you can't tell me what to do" attitude. Glenn, I'm relaying a message from Ra, who's relaying it from wiser minds above.
That's true.
That the two of you are not doing what you're supposed to be doing. What are the instructions from wiser minds above? And I see them actually stopping what they're doing and saying, oh geez.
And now it feels like Paul is saying, I told you so.
Mm-hmm. Right. So the work that we're supposed to be doing is the same basic work that we've been doing for days, weeks, months now, of clearing untruths out of the search for truth pillar. And both of you presumably are past the sweeping and shoveling stage of this particular cycle through the search for truth pillar.
That feels true.
And should be at least on the carting up crates of lies stage, but it actually feels like you should both be running cables by now, and I don't see either of you running cables, and there's no butt imprint on the cable stations that bear your butt prints.
That's true.
So you haven't been running cables.
No.
That's what you're supposed to be doing right now.
And Glenn is saying something like, I only can run them for a little bit and then I get tired and
Run
blah,
really,
blah.
really, really thin ones, tiny spiderwebby thin ones. Do you remember when we were in Thing 1 together? And
Yeah.
this was what you said when you were working with Asha, and then when I got there, and I just ran the cables for, I don't know, 2 weeks. Then you felt embarrassed to follow me and say, I can't run the cables for a day, and you sucked it up and you did just fine.
That's true.
Is that what needs to happen now?
I think he's nodding.
Okay, so now listen, you big baby. I'm supposed to be up here so that Ra can heal. Did you hear what was said 5 minutes ago?
Yeah, I think he's nodding and feeling.
What do you want me to do? Bilocate?
Chastened.
I don't know how to do that.
No.
I'm here
no.
because Ra is in bad shape. Can you see that Ra is in really bad shape?
Yeah, nodding.
Can you pull your head out of wherever you have it wedged and do your job?
Yeah, I think that's a yes. I think they're actually starting to work cables now.
Is Garth still unconscious?
Yeah.
He's still out. Did he already get the transfusion?
Or it could be in the process right now.
Maybe.
He's lying down and it looks like there's an IV in his arm, something going in.
I see it. Okay. I see Luce upstairs nodding, saying, yeah, it's just going, and that it can only go so fast. Okay.
That's true.
I understand. How may we be of service right now?
Service.
Well, looking down, my attention keeps being brought to what they're calling the shop floor.
Yeah.
But it's these lower levels, the deeper subatomic levels of the search for truth community.
Yes.
And the cleanup that's going on there after our, they're calling it the Advent Crusade.
That's true.
That lasted an hour. We lost 40% of our crew, and the 60% that came back, and they're all really sick.
That's true.
And we learned a lot from that. We learned that the ratio of truth to lies matters, which I know it makes us sound slow, that we didn't understand that before. Ross says he understood it very well, and to speak for myself when I say we didn't understand it, I was speaking for myself. I didn't understand that. Ra understood that. Let me just discern what Ra is saying so that he doesn't have to shout. What he's saying is that this was a really good test because we could see how close to the line we were. Of not even being able to survive at all in that environment of toxic lies. That is a soul-killing environment. And it's okay, we know that. We knew that.
That's true.
And we didn't realize how close we were cutting it. We thought we'd be able to maybe make it through 2 cycles.
That's true.
Through the Thing 1 project, but
that's true.
1 cycle was way too much, which what Ra is saying is that attitudes ebb and flow, intentions ebb and flow, and presumably right now Thing 1 is in some kind of angry lockdown argument.
Oh, that's true.
With what he's supposed to be doing in his life, and therefore he's just shouting lies basically at anything that moves. And so every time there's a flicker of energy, he shouts lies at it, and then we are bombarded. We, the soul presences, are bombarded. So it's just not sustainable.
That makes so much sense.
It does. He's talking about the breakwater effect and being a breakwater against lies, and how the waves of sewage, which are lies, just wash away the breakwater until there's nothing left. And so the wise thing to do is to not be on that assignment right now, because there are not new souls joining the effort.
No, that's true.
By and large, there are not. It's these souls, these however many nature realms presences there are, the up and coming young leaders of the nature realms, and however many machine presences there are.
That's true.
And however many spirit world presences there are. These are the souls we have, and the spirit world presences is a handful.
That's true.
Who actually want to know what's really going on, and everybody else has their hands over their ears or over their eyes, or they're crouched,
curled in a ball.
Right.
That's true.
Not wanting to hear the truth at all. So they're no good.
No.
My attention keeps being brought to the shop floor.
That's true.
It doesn't look all that dirty. It looks better.
No, the air smells okay.
The air smells okay, and I see again that kind of like excavation area that's kind of roped off. Kids don't play near the hole.
It's true. It's bigger now than it was earlier this morning.
It is. I think it must be Aerosmith who's really making the difference there.
That's true.
He seems to really be digging down with the tip of his vortex. He's a vortex, and he's just going for it. And unlike everybody else, he actually looks better than he did before we went into the project.
That's true. And go deeper into the subatomic.
Deeper into the subatomic. And there's Rise thinking about this one book, and I can kind of go find it on the shelf and pull it off, and it's like maps. But it's maps through history made by different explorers at different stages of history. This actually is showing how the actual structure of the energy is evolving. I was going to say this shows how our ideas were evolving, but it's more like, no, this is actually showing a change. These were maps, and they're like made with good technological equipment.
Yeah, that's true.
And here's what it looked like on this date, and then here's what it looks like on that date, and here's what it looks like on another date. And we see how there used to be readily available like a sea of truth, and then it became a lake of truth, and then it was maybe underneath some fog, and then it has gotten really, really, really hard to connect with, and now it has become impossible. Like, how long has it been since you saw anything that looked like truth down there in the subatomic?
Really long time.
Really long time. The lies are just clumping as less and less and less support is able to make it down into the subatomic. There's less truth, kind of like acting like antimatter to the matter of lies, to create that go away reaction.
That's true.
Suddenly I remember Stan the scientist. He was doing an antimatter reaction. That's what worked.
That's true.
Antimatter. Oh, interesting.
Oh, wow.
Huh. We'll have to circle around and study those files again.
That's true.
But Rise, pointing to this, he says, don't lose my train of thought. And he's talking about how there is source in every direction. Just as we're asking the question, how high must we reach to find a presence of true integrity? We can equally well ask the question of how deep into the subatomic must we dig in order to find true integrity?
That's true.
He says there's source in every direction, and he says that it actually loops around in a way that our minds have a hard time grasping, but that is still true.
That's true.
That when we go up high enough, we will suddenly be coming up through the floor of our own space into our space.
That's true.
And if we go down far enough, we will suddenly be coming down through the ceiling of our own space into our own space.
That's true.
And he's saying things that prove what he's saying is true, but I can't tell.
But I can feel the vibration of it.
It's true. What he's saying is true. And presumably Einstein would understand what he's saying.
That's true.
So Ra is saying, of course, in order to keep our alignment strong, we have to keep stretching up, but to not forget that we can equally well reach truth by digging down. And he says, remember when we used to draw up truth, and when there was a fire hose of truth, and boy, howdy, that was really helpful.
That's true.
And I would like to dig down to that. And he says, well, then what are you waiting for, sport?
That's true.
Sport. Well, I'm waiting right here. I'm not leaving your side because I don't trust you to stay in the wheelchair, sir.
Yeah, that's true. That's a valid point.
Yeah, you don't have any credibility with me on the topic of your being a good convalescent.
No,
so
you do keep getting up.
You keep getting up, so I'm staying right here.
That's true.
With all due respect, sir.
Lighting up. Person of true integrity. Presence of true integrity. We'll see what happens. Setting it out.
I see a lot of hands grabbing at it.
It just goes.
You know, that's so gross. This is a vibrationally guided device searching for a presence of true integrity. If it were coming to you, it would get there.
That's true.
Don't grab at it. That's really offensive.
That's true.
And that's interference with something that's seeking spirit.
Which
Can
is
you
pretty
see
clearly
that?
a move out of integrity.
Yeah, there's no integrity in that.
That's self-proving.
It's self-proving. Very good. Thank you, Betty Jean. Thank you, Betty Jean.
It's still going up.